just going over blood concerning ABO blood typing and RH factor is what we actually talked about last time. So we're going to just go back over those particular antigens. And why are we concerned about those particular antigens on a blood cell, a red blood cell? It's basically because those are the ones that matter when a blood donation is going to happen, those two antigens. Now, there are other situations when we, in a medical setting, would look at other antigens. Whenever you're like talking about a organ donation or transplant, or I even think someone who has hemophilia that has to have multiple blood transfusions would actually, they would have to look at those other antigens also, because remember, typically we don't have antibodies until we're what? Exposed. So our body makes antibodies as a result of exposure, except in one condition, one case. What is that case? ABO blood typing. That is the exception. We are all born with antibodies in that particular situation. So let's talk about that. Let's go and recap that so that we can make sure everybody kind of has a good feel for it, because I feel like some people don't have a good feel for it. So, first of all, when we're using, like, typically we make a symbol. And then when we're talking about blood typing, we like to think of little puzzle pieces kind of thing. So I'm going to say for ABO, I think my pen needs calibrating. See if I can do that right quick. There we go. All right, let's try that again. So there we go. ABO, we're going to do A looks like that. B looks like that. I'm drawing the antigens. And O looks like what? Nothing. All right, we'll do this. All right, for RH factor, basically plus means yes, you have it. Negative means no, absence. So the antigen will be, plus means it's there, minus means it's not. Okay? Everybody got that? So then, let's draw our little red blood cell. So what type of red blood cell is that? A. Okay. And what's that? What's that? My pen is not working again. And what's that? Okay. Now, what type of antibodies would you find in type A blood? What type of antibodies would you find in type B blood? What about AB? None. What type of antibodies would be found in O? Both. All right. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what is the universal recipient type AB, and let's go ahead and say AB positive. And what type is universal donor? O negative. Okay. Now, if you go back to the PowerPoint, all right, so everybody's kind of got that? We'll go back to the PowerPoint, and we'll go through those and see that we know the little examples that we provided. If you're O positive, you can also receive O negative. If you're O negative, you can only get O negative. All right, let's see. Yes, for our body to recognize, so that it may, for compatibility sake. And if you, and I mean, and that's just by nature. Your body is going to reject anything it doesn't recognize, and that's good for us. Thank goodness that happens. But in this particular case, it can be a problem. I can't hear you. Say that again. Okay, the thing with the negative and the positive, if you're A negative, you can get A positive one time. Why? Why can you receive that blood type one time? All right, so if you're A negative, it means that your body does not has never seen an antigen that looks like the Rh factor antigen. A negative means the antigen is not present in your body. So if you get A positive blood, then you've been exposed to a blood type that has an antigen on it, and it's the Rh factor antigen that your body's never seen before, and nor does it recognize it as self. So what is your body going to do? Build antibodies. So the second time you were to get a transfusion, it would be a problem. Because remember that little tidbit I told you about blood typing, ABO, that's the only antigens we're born with antibodies to. Our H factor is not the case. Yes? Like change your blood type? No. No. Mm-mm. Your blood is made in your bone marrow, and your genetic makeup tells you your bone marrow what type of blood you are, and that's the type of blood you make. Now, can your blood type change? Yes. If you get a bone marrow transplant, they kill your bone marrow. If whoever the donor is that gives you bone marrow, your body uptakes it, and that will be the new blood type that you make. They type the genetic markers. So like I have an aunt who was going to need a bone marrow transplant, and she has 6 siblings, and they blood typed all the siblings. 2 of the siblings were what they called a 100% match. And they prefer, from what I understand, they prefer males to females if they can get a 100% match with a male, because I think it's something to do with neutrophils, because females actually can have different DNA in their neutrophils, and that's a whole other story. But I think they do prefer the males. And when my aunt went and they tested everybody to see, and they chose 100% match with one of her brothers, and they had different blood types. So, but all of that, don't let that confuse you with what's at hand. The blood type is what it is. It doesn't change when you get a transfusion, okay? So RH factor and ABO, they're totally different sets of antigens, and we are concerned with them for different reasons. Do you remember why I told you we're concerned with RH factor? It has to do with pregnancy. What's the issue with pregnancy? When is it something to worry about? When you're what? When your blood type is what? RH what? Mother is RH negative. When mother is RH negative, there's an issue. That being, and that if you're RH negative, they're automatically going to do this. You know, no matter what, no matter who the baby's daddy is, they're going to treat you like, if you're RH negative, like you need to have the treatment, which is a shot, an immunosuppressant shot. It's called Rogam. And you get this sometime in the last trimester because when you give birth, your blood mixes, and when you are exposed to baby's blood, you build up antibodies to the RH factor. If you get pregnant a second time, your body will reject the fetus because remember, the antibodies that are in your blood cross over to baby during development. Even though blood doesn't mix, the antibodies do. The antibodies cross over. So what that means is those antibodies will start attacking the developing fetus. So they have to give you Rogam, and it suppresses your immunity so that you do not build up antibodies to the RH factor. Well, if the reason why I'm telling you that they're going to treat you no matter what the situation is because they're not going to go in and blood type the baby. And if, even if we've got a mom and a dad, we blood type both of them, and even if we knew that baby by those two blood types, was not going to be RH positive, you may, who knows? I mean, well, and then what if that's not really the dad or something? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter who the dad is, and if mom is RH negative, we're going to treat it that way. We're going to treat it because RH factor is dominant. It's a dominant gene. Yeah, I think they treat it every time because all subsequent pregnancies, because the immunosuppression only lasts for a certain amount of time locally, because then they can't suppress your immunity forever, kind of thing. So, oh yeah, definitely. Your body will spontaneously abort it. And I mean, there have been times where, when they know there's a situation, they can give blood transfusions. But I mean, because by the time it's an issue, pregnancy can be pretty far along, right? So that can be an issue. It just depends. So when you go to your Blackboard, just so that you know, which your Blackboard is different than my online class, and I'm saying that so that they'll know if they hear this video that their Blackboard is different. But here's your Blackboard, and here's where you'll go to get your notes. Y'all see that? Chapter notes. Here's chapter 17, which you've already gotten, and now you know where to get it. I'm going to put them in order. So you know where to get your notes. There's going to be a notes tab, and it just says chapter notes. And every time you go to get your notes, that's where you'll go. And here's 17, 18, and 19. But we actually need 17. Now, additionally, you'll see a tab over here for, and you can't see it right now, but there's going to be a tab, let me get it back up, for, it says enhancement assignments, and it says quizzes. And here's what here's what it looks like. I just haven't made it available to you yet. So you see that? Quizzes and enhancement assignments. So you'll have a chapter notes, an enhancement assignment tab, and a quiz tab. And you'll have every single chapter we do, there will be an enhancement assignment and a quiz. Okay? Yes. I don't know. Call IT. You got a pen? You got a pen? I'll give you the number. Okay. Yeah, they should be able to help you. Okay. Our donor is AB positive. The recipient is B negative. Will that work? All right. No, that will not work. Tell me why that will not work. Okay. So antibodies against the A, and also RH factor is going to be exposure, and that'll build up antibodies. Okay. Now the donor is B negative and the recipient is AB positive. Will that work? Yes, it will. AB positive is the universal recipient. All right, the donor is A positive and the recipient is A negative. Will that work? That will only work one time. Very good. Because then they'll have antibodies to that RH factor. All right, the donor is A negative. The recipient is A positive. Will that work? Absolutely. All right, the donor is O negative. The recipient is B negative. All right, so that'll work because O is the universal donor. Very good. And the donor is O positive. The recipient is AB positive. That'll obviously work because AB positive is the universal recipient. Any questions? Who? A negative? Could A negative give to? Not O positive. Not O positive. Right. O negative is considered universal donor. Okay? All right, y'all got blood typing now? Is everybody clear?